Like why we did it, the name.
I think the speed and the timing.
Oh.
Because my studio was torn apart, and you're like, hey, 4 songs by Friday. And I was like, nothing's hooked up. So I thought that was funny. So I pretty much set up like a halfway in between done renovating the studio, set up to mix this. And of course I wasn't used to the monitor reference, so we were running into random issues, but it still came together, which is cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny because I called Laquan because we did a song like 2 years ago called Micah that we never dropped. I just sat down there and read the book of Micah, wrote a song. And I called him and said, I hear something like this in my head. And he sent me the beat back exactly as it was in my head. And I was like, yo, it's amazing. It was all, I mean, like I never had that happen. Like somebody sent you back a variation, but not exactly what you heard. And so, but it was all about this stuff. But we just never put it out. Like I dragged my feet, whatever. And so we shelved it. And every couple months, there's another reason it needs to come out. So I called him about I guess a week before we started working this with you. And I was like, bro, is it ever gonna be 3 to 6 months if we don't need to drop this song about these racial tensions in our country? And he's like, nah, fam. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna come see you this Saturday. So I went over there, and the goal is to get to that song. And he starts playing like all these other beats. Yeah. And I'm like, wait, stop, pull that one aside, pull that one aside. And then by the time it was done, we had like 4 other songs. So I was like, we just gotta do this now. And we just was like, yo, what if we just in this moment, we just stop, and this is where we are. We don't overthink it. We just put this joint out. We just make it, put it out. So that was the speed of it. Like, I wanted to put it out in this moment, not only in this moment to response to what's happening, but in this moment and just response to where I was in the moment where I made it. I didn't want to be in a different frame of mind. I just wanted to say, here's where I'm at, just raw feelings about what's happening. But my resolve is this. So that was the rush for it. Yeah. Plus, I had like hit this wall, like emotionally, being on the front lines with all these racial conversations in church, in the community, constantly talking to people. And I'm in a lot of white spaces, so a lot of the same questions and having to talk about the same things over and over again. And choosing to do that because I think it's an honor for me. I just hit a wall where I just like, yo, I'm tired. And I never actually felt depression, but I talked to my counselor like that's what I think it was. And so I was making it in that space. Like I went to Laquan's house in that space, and I was writing in that space. And part of me wanted to put it out while because I'm still in that space right now. And part of me wanted to have this already set to come out when I was in that space. Yeah. So in this moment, not only to the racial climate, how I'm feeling, my personal burden, and then even the fact that we just did the march, this quoted in a couple weeks before this, everything was about in this moment. That's why we called it in this moment. Yeah. So.
Don't turn away your faces. Don't turn away from cases. Playing the hand you dealt by. Your house of cards is makeshift. The entire narrative that you've been saying back into our faces baseless. Divided we stand, united we fall. I'm out of that grave, good gracious.